Now that I've practiced just some basic stuff with her on the mat in the living room, now I'm going to do some more difficult things. And remember, all of these things that I'm doing here in my house, in my living room, you're going to do exactly the same thing in your living room. So even though, good, see how skittish she still is? I moved a certain way, or I dropped the leash, something happened, and I saw when I was talking to you out of the corner of my eye, she jumped. So she's still very skittish, but at least she's, at this point after the 3 weeks of training, she's able to hold it together. She might be skittish and be surprised, but she knows she's supposed to stay in it down. And this focus on the moment, being with us and doing this thing like here and not being totally reactive really helps her. And as you practice this, you'll see her getting calmer and calmer in her everyday life when she's not doing training. The byproduct of this is to make her calmer 24/7. So this is all going to help her get less skittish over time if you continue to practice like this. So she's on the mat, and now she's been good with me just walking around, sitting on the furniture. Now I'm going to start leaving the room. And so I'm going to go into there's a hallway here. You'll hear me open the door and close the door, disappear, come back out. She stayed there. Good. Every time that you reward her, you come back the same way every time, so she knows exactly how it's going to go. Good. Give her her reward on the mat. You see how she's kind of to one side? It's better. I just let her stay there because that's where she went, but it's better if you position her in the middle of the mat. That would be ideal. Okay, so let's say she gets crooked or something. You just release her to get up and then down. Reposition her. Now she went down perfectly. She gets a little reward for going there. Excellent. The hardest thing for dogs to handle, which is usually you leaving the house and her staying in a downstay when you're out of the house, which is great practice for her brain focus and staying calm, because you're out of the house, you're actually knocking on the door, ring the doorbell, you'll see all these things I'm going to do. I turned her around because for her in particular, she's still not calm enough to be able to do this with her back turned to the door. That's really hard to do. And seeing as like a few weeks ago, she was so skittish, even noises on the street would make her get up here in the living room. She's way better than she was, but you want to keep practicing so eventually you can have her back to the front door and it doesn't matter. But she's not quite there yet, but this is how you get to that point. So I'm going to go outside, close the front door. First I'm going to remind her what I want her to keep doing. Down. I'm going to knock on the door. Good. She gets a big reward for that. Good. 3 pieces. Whenever she does something exceptional, give her a bigger reward because she knows the difference between portions. So when she does something that is hard to do, give her a little bit extra and she'll remember what she did to earn that extra payoff. Down. That time I knocked on the door and rang the doorbell. Good. Another big payoff. Good. That was really hard to do. A lot of dogs would pop up and bark and all that kind of stuff. So now we're going to try all 3 things at once, starting with banging on the window. Down. Mail slot. Knocking on the door. Doorbell. Good. It's a lot of noise. She did really well. Big payoff. Good. There's just dozens of things you can do in your house to distract her. You have stairs, so you can go up and down the stairs, disappear upstairs for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds as she gets better. Come back, reward her. Go in the kitchen. Come back, reward her. Go in the kitchen and open that special drawer with the dog treats in it. Or, take out that package with the cellophane that she knows means that you have treats for her, or whatever. Just make sure that you've done all the simple things first. She's rock solid with you just going to different places in the house and walking around her and that sort of thing first before you do the hard things. But just keep working up to harder and harder distractions. And if she keeps making a mistake when you try something, that means it's too much too soon. So you back off. Maybe do some other things that are easier for her to handle, or do whatever you were doing just a little bit less than before so she can deal with it, and then gradually increase the level of difficulty of that one distraction you're working with. So you never want to do something and makes her make mistake after mistake, because you don't want her to develop a pattern of making mistakes. So you want a pattern of what's happened here, where all these distractions, she's been just about perfect. One last reward, good. If you are doing this exercise, you always want to end on a success like I am. Give her one last reward. The way that you allow her off the mat is you stand next to her just like you would out in the street. She waits for you to come back, you pat your leg, you see how she's anticipatory, so make sure that she waits until you actually do it. Make her wait calm down for a couple moments. Okay, just like that, okay. And then if we're gonna let her outside like I am now, sit, or take her for a walk outside, because I know you don't have a yard. Have her sit at the front door. And if you want, you can do your exercise, of course. If not, just make sure that she does walk through with you. Okay, without pulling, like this. Sit. And I'm going to release her to be free for a little break. Go.